Going to start with the Irish Independent this morning. Gunners set to appoint Emery after Arteta U-turn. This is the story that Unai Emery is going to be the manager at Arsenal after Mikel Arteta had been touted, had been effectively... he hadn't been told he was getting the job, but certainly people had been told that he was getting the job. It seemed to be the accepted truth amongst the Arsenal players. Two other stories at the back page there. RFU may block Ulster move for Bok. This is the fact that Alton Janchis is top of Ulster's list as a potential out half, but apparently David Nucifora is still on the Joey Carberry or bus bandwagon for Ulster. And after this year, after the fact that Toronto Monaghan wasn't on TV, it looks like the GAA are open to next year perhaps increasing the number of games that are available as part of the TV deals for Sky and RTE. So a masterful piece of handling by the GAA of these contracts. It's like, no, this year you can't have any more games. Everybody goes, we want more games! And they're like, okay, you can have more games. Whereas if they come out and gone, brilliant, more games for TV, you just wanted more games so you could charge more money. And now it's like, you can certainly see the deft political handling of the organisation to manoeuvre the situation where everybody actually understands they want these games on TV. It's like, okay. And anybody comes at us and says we're just doing it for money, we're like, no. Do you want the Ulster Championship match on TV or not? And the answer is yes, we do. We want all the games on TV, is actually how we really feel about this. So fair play to them, I say. Put the games on TV.
I just want somebody to come up with the take that the real reason the GAA aren't showing as many games as they would like at the moment is because they really just wanted the Royal Wedding to be shown on RTE. Nobody's really gone that far, but I hope that human paranoia in Ireland does take that next step over the next couple of days. So somebody tweet that, please. There
was a fair bit of stuff about, I can't believe RTE are showing the Royal Wedding and they're not showing this game. Like, well, I mean, fair enough, you're getting 300 likes for that on Twitter, but it doesn't make any sense.
None of those profiles are real. 300
Egypts, like you Egypt. Also, great story inside. Under 20 star Doris, I was always Mayo for football but Leinster for rugby. Keelan Doris, who is by all accounts the next on the production line of superstar back rows, is captain of the Ireland under 20 team heading down to the World Cup in the south of France in, I think, next month or maybe it's a little bit later on in the summer. But he's actually from Ballina in County Mayo, so who knows why he's not playing for Connacht. We'll get to the bottom of that story. And then the other one is that Unai Emery, right? A lot of like, it's Unai Emery, I want him, Mikel Arteta. Like,
who's saying that?
A load of people.
Like who? Twitterati.
Exactly. The football cognoscenti.
Oh yes, there's lots of them that wear an Arsenal jersey to bed.
And a lot of Arsenal fans are pissed off.
That's what I mean.
They'd made their peace with, I don't mean the hacks who are Arsenal fans, I mean the actual Arsenal fans who are out there as Arsenal fans as opposed to the closeted Arsenal fans who write for the newspapers. And I think that Unai Emery is actually a really good manager who had some genius results over a period of time. Found the PSG job to be a pain in the hole because they're signing players based on fame and money as opposed to team building. And so show me somebody who's going to make a success of that PSG job. Eventually somebody will. Maybe Thomas Tuchel will. But that doesn't mean he's a bad manager. And it certainly doesn't mean that he's like a Carlo Ancelotti figure who's just like, oh yeah, you want me there? 10 million? 12 million? Yeah.
Unai Emery is the correct choice for Arsenal. There's no question about that. I wish you kind of went the other way so I could disagree with you on it, but unfortunately I'm going to have to row in behind you on this one. He is the correct choice. He is by far a better appointment than Mikel Arteta would have been. And that is not to say that Mikel Arteta could have paid off handsomely. He could have been the risk that paid off hugely for a club like Arsenal. But the point is that Arsenal cannot afford to take a risk like that. They cannot afford an appointment like Manchester United could with David Moyes. They slipped down to the point where they were teetering in and around being a team that may or may not qualify for the top four. If Arsenal slip one more time, then they're going to finish below Burnley. Arsenal can't afford that. They pick a guy who's punched above his weight year after year after year at Valencia and at Sevilla. He had one bad year, one bad year, and that was in Russia, and that's because he struggled with the language, he struggled with the culture. You could say losing to Monaco in his first season at PSG was a bad year. It probably was. There were other factors there. He won a treble this year.
Monaco had an amazing team.
They are an amazing team.
Monaco had an amazing team. Yeah, one year they had like a world-class collection of young kids.
They did, and there was great recruitment on there. This year, treble in France, it's not exactly a world-beating achievement because of the players they had and the money they had. Unai Emery, correct call by Arsenal.
So, Mullins vet fixed bets with inside information. This is the incredible story in the front of the Times that they claim was first revealed by the Sunday Times months ago. A prominent Irish vet has been charged by the British Horse Racing Authority after an investigation into alleged betting irregularities. Tim Brennan, an equestrian vet who worked for Willie Mullins, is accused of conspiring and passing inside information on the horse Faugheen to his brother Michael. This relates to the withdrawal of Faugheen from the champion hurdle at Cheltenham in 2016. The allegation is basically that his brother had laid Faugheen in advance of the news breaking that Faugheen wouldn't be taking part. Irregular betting patterns emerged. The winnings on those bets have been withheld. His brother has been banned from all racecourses in the UK, and now he has been charged by the British Horse Racing Authority. And I'll bring you the back of the Times in a second, just the front of the Racing Post, because it's the same story. Michael Brennan has refused to cooperate with the BHA's investigation, and he was excluded from the sport in 2016. His brother Tim, who is the vet who has just been charged by the British Horse Racing Authority, says this is a convenient story and he is denying the accusations at the moment. So that is a story that you will hear a lot more about in the coming days and weeks, but it certainly casts a pall over the entire sport. There's obviously no suggestion that there was any impropriety on the part of Willie Mullins or anybody else in his yard. So back to the Times Ireland edition. Ticket blow for Liverpool. 2,000 Real Madrid tickets not being sold, but Liverpool fans are not going to be able to buy them for fear of crowd trouble at the Champions League final. I've been looking for a ticket for the Champions League final and I've been unable to procure one because they're about £3,000 a pop at the moment.
Have you got flights booked to Kiev?
It's not for me, it's for somebody who's going.
Okay. So, could they not just kind of moonlight as a Real Madrid fan for one night only? One
site yesterday had a Category 2 ticket with a face value of £280 on sale for £14,500.
Oh my God. That is grim. That is absolutely grim. And it's not like it's one of those... you would suspect the Champions League final won't be one of those events where the ticket price plummets the hour before the event. Kind of like, you know... I don't know, maybe like the Rolling Stones at Croke Park last week where you could just pick something up for free. Somehow I don't think the Champions League is on that sort of level.
Did you get a free ticket in the end?
No, I didn't actually pay face value, but
because
I didn't want to sit down. I wanted a standing ticket, which were quite popular. Anyway, like...
How much was it in the end?
Like 70 quid.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I thought they were like 180 quid or something.
You probably were looking at the gold circle standing.
No, I wasn't. That's the story I heard.
Yeah, well,
I didn't ever have any intention of going. Owen Kelly has called on Tipperary manager Michael Ryan to park his ego and admit that he got it wrong in the 6-point loss to Limerick on Sunday. So Michael Ryan is actually going to do his first media interview in 2 days when he speaks to Tip FM a little bit later on this morning. So we'll obviously bring in news and reaction and some of that audio a little bit later on. And Matthew Hanlon, the Wexford joint captain, says that the GAA have got it completely wrong by relegating a Leinster team.
Are we telling people to like wait in anticipation for this Michael Ryan interview?
Not really.
Like, I mean, he's not going to say anything that's going to shatter the earth.
Why do you hate Michael Ryan?
I think he's a genius for the way he manages to lull the media into kind of a sense of sleep. You would actually doze off listening to Michael Ryan, and that is the genius of the man. He doesn't say anything. He manages to keep his cards close to his chest. That's why he should be doing all the interviews in the world. That's why his decision on Sunday to impose a temporary media ban was just a bizarre decision. But thankfully that's been lifted, and I'm sure we'll be back to normality with Michael Ryan giving quotes that are meander towards nothing.
All right, ticket prices, speaking of that. Nick Harris has a story saying the joint USA-Canada-Mexico bid for World Cup 2026 is proposing ticket prices that average £321 sterling each.
Oh my God. That's just great. What is that, $450? I mean, how can you stand over that as a bid?
I don't know.
That's disgusting.
I don't know.
Well, sorry, that's the average though.
Yeah.
Ah, well, come on. I mean, you talk about whatever the Tunnel Club maybe, which might be a thing of normality come that World Cup. Those tickets will be what, 12 grand or something? Oh wait, here we go.
Here's the average ticket price for other events. At the 100, the highest we've ever had was the World Cup in England, £104.17. So these are all English prices because it's a Daily Mail story. But that's like, we're talking about 3 times that.
Yeah, but obviously it's going to be the most expensive event in the history of mankind, but it's like there's going to be very, very expensive premium level tickets at the World Cup hosted by those countries, and that will bring the average up dramatically. I want to know what a ticket price is for the nosebleeds in those stadiums? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's probably going to be 100 quid, 120 quid. You mean fair enough? For a group game?
Thinking fair enough.
Jesus.
I know.
All right.
I'm not saying it's good, but I'm thinking...
You're more money than sense. You carry lads. Well, in 2026, I don't know, you've got a decade to get your shit together.
Plenty of time to sell my lemonade. I don't know what that meant.
Fogarty brace for white knuckle ride. Scrum coach stresses importance of first 20 minutes against Scarlets. This is the Leinster scrum coach John Fogarty, who was out before the media yesterday. Jordan Larmour also out doing some press as well. And Jerry Thorney reckons that Munster are much closer this season than they were 12 months ago. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I think that actually, as we were talking about with Quinny yesterday, there's a bit of camouflage going on from those games because of the late comebacks in both semi-finals this year. And it's great that they finished those semi-finals out and didn't fold their temp, but that's the least you'd expect from them. So, sure, we'll wait and see.
They're a bit different, though, those two semi-finals.
This year, the two semi-finals from last year's semi-finals, when they also...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
McLean focusing on Ireland after a frustrating season. This is a great story about James McLean, obviously doing media. He's in the Irish Independent and in the Irish Times today as well. Basically, I think, trying to get a move to Celtic. So his wife was on Twitter during the week. Jesus, the excitement for Sunday. She was tweeting with Shamrock, a green love heart and the Ireland flag. And the excitement wasn't because Ireland were playing Scott Brown Celtic 11 or an Ireland 11. It was that James was going to play in Parkhead.
Yeah.
He's a Celtic fan from Derry and wants out of West Brom. He did say the new manager made him feel like a footballer again. When Pardew came in, he was told you can't leave, and in the summer Burnley were in for him, and Pulis was like, you're really important to me. And then transfer window shut, no games, and then somebody else comes in, Derby come in for him, and Pardew's like, did Pardew go before or after the transfer window shut? After, I think.
After, I would say, yeah.
And he plays a little bit just before the transfer window shuts, and they're like, no, we really need you. And then transfer window shuts, no games, and the new manager comes in and starts to play him again, and he feels good about life. But the other story is Manuel Pellegrini is joining West Ham. That's a good signing.
Well, there's another Parkhead story in the Irish Times, of course, because it is Tuesday. It is the summer. It is Jim McGuinness.
Yes.
How many paragraphs did it take before he mentioned being on the Celtic game?
Three paragraphs.
We should play Jim McGuinness bingo every week. If you had 3 this week, you are the winner of something. We haven't quite decided yet. So 3 paragraphs in, and then there was about
Celtic Park and Mass. They're both in the 4th and 5th paragraphs.
He said he missed the first half of Monaghan Tyrone because he was at Mass. It's very late Mass in Glasgow, 4 p.m. on a Sunday. And he said he was just thinking about Monaghan Tyrone instead of focusing on his prayers.
Is Glasgow one of those places that you can, there's like a 24-hour church you can just rock up, and it's like somewhere you can get married in Vegas, but you can always get Mass and communion and confession.
Yeah, but it lives by off-licence laws where you can't actually get the wine after 10 o'clock. But up until that point, it's like rolling communion every hour.
Oh, they'll give you Buckfast, though.
Oh, yeah.
Substitute.
Even better. Are you done?
We did the Irish Examiner.
I think you did.
No. The Irish Examiner. The First Lady, Rena Buckley, bows out after a stellar dual career of 18 senior All-Irelands with Cork. And there she is, towering over the president. They also have Unai Emery set to be named the new Arsenal manager. And the fixture row about Cork and Tip, when the opportunity to play Cork Tip as a double header.
They've neglected that opportunity?
I think so, yeah.
Well, that's a shame. So that'll take place this Saturday. So a 7-day turnaround for Liam Kearns' side. He's not happy with that. Considering it is the biggest game of their season, why wouldn't you be unhappy with that? I mean, there should be a 2-week turnaround for that game. It's interesting, obviously, because had Waterford caused the upset of the summer so far and beaten Tipperary in the football on Saturday night, that game would have been fixed for the weekend after this one. So Waterford would have got the 2-week gap. Tipperary didn't, and that's obviously all to do with logistics. Like there is a logistical solution to this, which is don't play the game at a certain time, or do play it as a doubleheader.
Neither county proposed that the game be played as a doubleheader. So there you go.
Well, that answers all the questions I had. I'm gonna rest my case. On the back of the Herald this morning, they're going with Jack McCaffrey. Jack's back Dublin defender makes his return 8 months after cruciate injury. This is Conor McKeown's story here, saying that he's made a timely return to action after that cruciate injury, of course, which he suffered in the All-Ireland last year. He was playing on Saturday evening. It was a Dublin AFL Division 2 defeat to Fingalians in Lawless Park. It was his first competitive appearance since that injury. Just an interesting line here as well. McCaffrey actually performed the role of umpire in the first half of Saturday's game before coming on at half-time and completing a full half hour. Tut. We need to be investigating the seedy underbelly of biased umpires. I wonder did McCaffrey pick up.
Is it not generally accepted you can have a biased umpire when you're short numbers if both clubs have one?
I think it is, to be fair. By the way, I'm not questioning the integrity of Jack McCaffrey. I'm sure he did a stellar job and an honest job as the umpire.
One of my outstanding memories of playing under 16 and minor was constantly in the full back line, was constantly rowing with the umpires, like just constantly rowing with the umpires who would just be like blatantly cheating.
Yeah. There's two main kind of...
They would always threaten to report you to the ref, and then you realise they can't report me to the ref because actually they're not buddies with the ref. So, and then they would abuse you and you'd be able to abuse them back.
That's the thing.
And it would be like, I feel bad about this, but actually, you know what? You're a grown man and I'm 15. So actually, you know what? Actually, I feel good about it now.
Yeah, they were the two main criteria for becoming an umpire at an underage game.
Be a bollocks.
Be a bollocks. Well, sorry, 3. Be a bollocks. Gain your side a point where they didn't deserve one, and abuse a 14-year-old like verbally. That's just shout and throw all the curses under the sun at that person, and it's like, I'm a kid here. Like, I mean, leave me alone. Dad.
Yeah.
And on the back of the Mirror this morning, away from this umpire story, which remarkably isn't carried anywhere else actually, is Unai Emery again. Arsenal lose art, which is the angle here on the back of the Mirror. Gunners go cold on former star and Spaniard Emery, now poised for hot seat. It's interesting that that's the angle taken here, that they've kind of... Maybe they just went with the pun. They said Arsenal lose art. Obviously, if you put on an English accent, it's like... Do it. No, in my head I did it.
Go on, you're from London, do it.
I'm not from London. That's the most insulting thing that's been...
Where you are from London?
Well, I was born there, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm Irish. I'll show you my passport. I'll bring you my passport tomorrow. My
passport's green. No glass of mine was ever raised to toast the Queen, except it's obviously not green anymore. Go on.
The best thing that happened to Arsenal this week is that Mikel Arteta is not becoming their manager, and that is not to say that Mikel Arteta will not one day become a very good football manager. In the here and now, Unai Emery is the correct call if he's on the table. It's gonna be Emery. There's another kind of anglicised headline on the back of the Star. Magic Mo is out of this world as well. The build up to the Champions League final beginning this week. And the back of the Sun then, it's not going to be easy. Emery checks and balances. I'm not sure what the sub-headline there means. Well, I know what checks and balances mean, but Emery checks and balances. I'm not quite sure what that... like, it's you can try and decipher that one.
He's getting loads of money.
Okay.
Oh, no, hang on. He says he's going to work within the 50 million budget that they have, but that's one story. The other story is that he's actually managed to secure whatever he wants for whoever he wants. He can spend 90 million on one player if he wants, because I don't know.
There's the other story on the back of the Sun there. Shock call Supps is the headline. Shane Supple is going to be included in the Ireland squad for those friendlies.
Supple obviously worked at Ipswich under Roy Keane and retired from football. Went into Roy Keane and went, look, I'm not feeling it, I'm going home. Keane was like, fair enough. That was their relationship. And then obviously came home and got back into football. Was playing for Bridget's in the Dublin Championship last month. So he's like, somebody tweeted that last night. Oh, Shane Stapleton. I keep referring to Shane's tweets. He must be the only one. There must be some algorithm that extra serves in my Twitter feed, but he was like, I can't remember the last time, or was there a last time that a current GAA player was picked to play international football?
Yeah.
Because the ban would have been in place any time. It might have been possible in the past.
Well, that's true, yeah. The ban was a mighty old thing. They should bring that back in.
Kevin Moran?
I'm not sure. The back of The Guardian is Andy Robertson. The problem with Real Madrid is they're all fantastic, he says. Andy Robertson on facing the challenge of his life in Kiev.
What's the right headline for
that? Real Madrid are good at football?
Chicken Kiev.
Ah, there you go. I mean, let's not kind of go into that pun any further. Klopp's Real warning.
It's the most chicken thing you're ever going to hear. Oh, they're really good at football.
Yes, pretend that ever happens. The front page of the Daily Telegraph sports section. Arsenal in shock move for Emery. Gunners appoint former PSG coach after club's decision makers go cold on Arteta gamble. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I can see where people are coming from when they say that Arteta would have been a good appointment. My gut says Mikel Arteta would have been quite a good appointment, that he could have had this brilliant managerial career that could have spanned for a couple of years at Arsenal and gone on to bigger and better things as a result of that. But it is a risk. There is no question.
You know that forever there's going to be a constant compare and contrast when Arteta eventually does get a job in management, which may well be the Man City job, that Guardiola rolls on for, say, 2 more seasons and then decides he wants to go off and live in the Bahamas or whatever it is. And Arteta gets that gig, which is set up perfectly for him at that point, and then becomes this brilliant manager who has a generation at Man City winning the Champions League and being one of the greatest managers of all time because it's all set up for him to succeed. Unai Emery flames out after 2 years and everyone's like, oh, we could have had that guy. Could have been a contender.
Yeah,
class.
It'll be a Zidane-esque start to life at Manchester City for Arteta, where the conditions are relatively good. And not that Zidane's a bad manager or anything, but he's made to look even better because of the conditions around him at the football club.
Seamus, Machan
Tíhig?
McEntee.
I don't no, Machan Tíhig.
Is that what that is translation of? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know. I would never bother translating those correct names into the incorrect versions.
Given out to umpires, try being in goal against John Mitchell's with a lad umpiring, holding on to the Alsatian the size of a heifer next to you. The ball hopped off the dog behind the line, stayed in play, and they got a goal out of it. Oof. No. That can't be right.
That's like that.
Come on. That's the point where the referee steps in and says, you've got a dog that's, trained to kill humans. So you can take him away there. He's intimidating everybody, including me. No?
Yeah, like absolutely. I mean, it's that is definitely a new one, actually bringing a kind of a live weapon with you that could do anything. I mean, is the Alsatian trained or not? Or is it just a bloodthirsty beast? And is kind of trained to, kind of go after people who are dressed in a certain jersey. That would be kind of brutal. Yeah, the life of an umpire is kind of a very grim wormhole that we've got into. Yeah,
I'd like people to send us in point of view videos from the umpires. The way we see from the referees these days.
Yeah, let's not forget as well the abuse that the umpires take. I mean, it's not just them dishing it out and calling people dicks and all that. Well, I'm not sure what they do, but I've certainly seen it firsthand where umpires are getting involved in the verbals. It's like they get sent in as kind of a tactical undercurrent, and they go and do their job. But yeah, no, an Alsatian is a new one.